Yo, yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flesh and Blood stream. Tonight, we've got a special edition of Thursday night streaming for you. We have Trent with us. We're getting ready to undeafen him. We're going to say hi to Trent here in just a second. We got Trent with us. We're going to talk about spoilers. We're going to talk about Zen, and then Trent is going to show us how to play Zen, because if you guys have ever been on the stream when I am playing Zen, then you know it's not great. So we're going to jump into it. Let's go ahead and say hi to Trent and see what he's up to here. I think he's here. Yo, Ben, Electrum, Dave, what's up, dude? How is everybody? Let's see. Trent should be hanging out, waiting on us. There he is.
What's going on?
What's up, dude? Now, I will say, before we talk about spoilers or anything here, you might notice some similarities here between Trent and myself right now. I got to see Trent's get up last week when the stream failed to be put out last Thursday, so I'm a little less surprised by it, but I do think it's very thematic, and I think it's really cool for the stream. You've got like the whole like red like hat going on, like to like match the headband. You got glasses on, the shirt. I love it, dude.
I mean, I got invited on. I had to go all out, and so I had to make sure I looked the part. I even had some hot dogs for dinner before we hopped on call. So
yo, look at you, dude, my man.
I'm really in the mindset here.
I was like, dude, talk about commitment to the bit, bro. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. Kelly said hi. I don't know. Kelly Morgan said hi, Trent. Is that family or?
That is my mother. That is my mother. She's here.
Let's go. Trent's mom. Hello.
Does not know a lick about the game, but she was like, I'll listen.
Dude,
So
I love that your mom is supportive enough to get on YouTube and find my channel and then like come into the stream and say hi. That's awesome, dude. That's
she asked me
amazing.
for the link. She asked me for the link I sent it. I mean, it
Oh,
wasn't that.
yeah, I guess that's a lot easier. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm acting anyway. Yo. Electrum said, "Let's go, Trent's mom." That's wholesome. It is very Trent. It's very Trent. It is very wholesome, right? Honestly, it's awesome. So I really like it. All right. So we're gonna do this in a couple ways here. For anybody who has been in the Discord, you know that spoilers have been coming out today, and there's some pretty crazy stuff out there. So I think we should start out by talking about some spoilers. I think it'd be very fun to talk about the new spoilers. Some of the cards seem absolutely insane. The fact that Pirate is a talent is like kind of really cool in my opinion. And then we can talk about your weekend in Charlotte, and then we can break down the deck, and then we'll play some games. How's it sound?
Sounds great to me.
All right, let's do it. So looking at this here. All right, so looking at our spoilers here. Let's see. Do you have the screen pulled up? Sorry, I can't share my screen with you because it'll mess up. Okay. All right.
I'm on
so looking at Puff and Hightail says action. It just says tap. Now I will say the one thing that stands out to me here is that it doesn't say like tap an ally. It just says tap, which I mean I'm assuming that's what that symbol is.
I'm of the same mind. I feel like it's tap. A lot of people have thrown out a lot of different ideas where it's like, oh, sacrifice, but then it's like, okay, but for the hero, what does that mean? I also was thinking it could be like flip face down, but then that brings up its own other questions. But
it would be really cool if we had like allies and things that like flipped. Like I know that we've seen flip cards in the past, but like saying like, oh, like flip this card and then do this, that would be a pretty cool thing. I don't know. I like tap. I feel like is like the general consensus here for what people are thinking, but I mean either way. All right, so destroy a gold you control, create a golden cog token. The second time you crank each turn, draw a card. So we're really leaning into the whole like mechanologist, like drawing cards and like crank ability. So, I mean, I kind of like that. Also, the biggest thing that stands out to me is that the two heroes that I can see on my screen are tokens. They're not majestics. Adult heroes are not majestics in the set. They're looking like tokens. Thank God.
Yeah.
What a W.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I hate that we ever went to adult heroes as majestics. I think it was ridiculous. So, all right. Golden Sky Warden, a 4 for 7 that blocks 2 at yellow with Galvanize. I'm not going to lie, that just looks like a Victor card if I've ever seen one. I know it's not, but man, look at all that gold.
It's got golden in the name.
That's what I'm saying. We really missed one here. Brian, if you watch this, you really missed one here. When this defends, you may destroy an item you control. If you do, this gets +1. If a golden cog is destroyed this way, create a gold token and repeat this process.
This is interesting. I first saw this, and the first question in my mind was like, how easy is it going to be to make golden cogs? Because if you just have a stack of golden cogs up, this thing is disgusting. It's not only a popper at 7, but also could block for quite a bit if need be.
Well, it seems like it could probably pretty easily block 4. Like 3 seems like probably like the floor, I would say. But
sure.
I mean, blocking 4 seems pretty reasonable. Like getting a couple golden cogs out can't be that difficult, I would imagine, right? I guess it's more about like how do you keep them out, I guess would be like the
Yeah, the one, well, for sure it is guaranteed for, I feel like, if you have at least one cog out. Because, well, unless I misunderstand Galvanize, which I might need to refresh what Galvanize says specifically. But so you Galvanize, so you destroy a cog and then make a gold and Galvanize again. I don't remember for certain, but I feel like you can Galvanize a gold. But I could be wrong on that. If I remember right, I was thinking Galvanize is destroy an item.
Can you?
I don't remember if it's a mech item.
Can you Galvanize a gold? Yo, chat, somebody, let me know. Let me know if this is true. I have to know if Trent's like on some cope over here, if he's like actually just spitting facts at us right now. Because, dude, if he's spitting facts at us, like that's actually kind of wild. Yo, Drew said Trent is sexy.
I mean, He is too. So
Gold can be galvanized. We like chat is confirming. It's
Yes,
any
it
item.
says
Oh
just an
my
item.
god. So basically the floor of this card, even with one cog, is just 4.
Yep.
Like this is a non-triumphable popper that also just blocks for 4. Like turns into a sink below.
Yep.
And you can also just randomly like 2-card 7 them. We just get to play like the Wounded Bowl game here. Yo.
2-card 7
with Tunic, I guess.
It's a
with,
4
with,
okay, yeah, I was like, it is a 4
Sorry.
I mean, you could also just run the. Well, I don't know. Based on the cards we're seeing, I don't know how much boosting is going to be in this set. Well, to be fair, super early in the spoiler process.
I mean, sure, yeah. Like it's like what, like the only spoilers we had before today were like leaks. They weren't even really spoilers, really. I feel like so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping they're gonna like add some boost stuff in here to like kind of like help Dashio maybe a little bit.
But wouldn't it be such a wild decision to have no boost in a set with mech?
That would actually be awesome. That would actually be cool.
Wild.
It's kind of what I wanted them to do in Bright Lights.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Bright Lights was a great set from a limited perspective. From a limited perspective, I loved Bright Lights. So anyway. All right, so Sky Skimmer is a 0 for 4. I already like this. 0 for 4s. My brain's been rotted by Aurora. And it's a 3-block. Yo. Once per turn instant, tap a cog you control. I'm sorry, I'm going to use the word tap tonight when we talk about these because in my brain, that's what it's going to mean. But I don't know if that's accurate or not. Tap a cog you control. This gets +1 or go again. So the fact that this is an instant is actually crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can give this, like, you're forcing your opponent to decide how they want to block, and then you can give it go again at instant speed, which is pretty cool.
I want to point something else out too, real quick.
All right, hit me with it.
So if you look at the heroes, none of them say once per turn on their abilities. They each say just action, instant action.
Shit,
so
they
if there's
do.
a way to untap a card and just say untap a card, you could kind of do some wacky stuff with their hero abilities, I feel like.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I'm having like major PTSD right now to like playing Magic for so many years because there's so many like stupid combos you can do with like tapping and untapping things. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, one, this looks really cool, but like, I'm also kind of wondering if this is maybe like, if they were like, hey, like, let's put something in there for all the Magic players who play our game now. Like... Man. All right, so Sky Skimmer can be a 0 for 5 or a 0 for 4 go again at instant speed. And you get to decide how you want to play it out, which I really like.
Also just 0 for 4 block 3 if you don't have a cog out.
I mean, that's true. Thing. Yeah, like it's like I guess it's like floor is like a 3 block. Or like a 0 to 60 you can't boost, I guess.
As a big Aurora guy, I'm sure that's just like really exciting for you. So,
dude, when you throw a 0 for 4 at me that blocks for 3, I'm just like, how am I gonna cram this into my deck, dude? I am actually going to a Blitz skirmish tomorrow. It's the only skirmish I'm gonna get to play at, and I'm trying to figure out how I can fit more 3 blocks into my deck. So we'll see what happens. All right, Golden Cog. I would just like everyone to know that there's so much gold in this set. It's really a shame that there's not like Guardian stuff in this set. The horse is crying.
I'm going to say, I feel like you might get something. I don't know how much of something. I feel like you might get at least enough gold things that you can just play with. Not necessarily that they're good, like maybe performance bonus level, where it's like, there is a deck that can play them.
I'm hoping we get an expansion slot card. Even if it's not good, just something fun.
That's about the shape of a horse.
I hadn't even considered that, but I really like this idea. Like that's my new leading theory, is that we're going to get a boat in the shape of a horse.
You're pretty good.
All right, Golden Cog has Crank. This enters the arena with a steam counter on it. At the start of your turn, destroy this unless you remove a counter or a steam counter from it. Oh, okay, so it just says Crank. And Like, yeah.
It-
How
It's gonna enable everything else. I feel like.
Yeah, so the golden cog is basically how you're gonna
Oh,
keep your action points going or like generate extra action points, I feel like.
another thing I'm noticing too is for Puffin, her hero action doesn't have go again, so it makes a cog, so you can immediately crank it to keep a turn going. And then the other
Yeah.
part of it is second time you crank, draw a card.
Yeah, no,
I
for
didn't
sure.
I didn't look as closely at the heroes the other day.
If you have if you have two things you can tap, and like if you have like multiple golds you can like destroy, then you're gonna be able to like actually like draw cards, like draw a card, and then like just keep your action point going, so you can continue to do like dumb stuff. Will be really cool.
Mhm.
All right, Gravy Bones. I mean, I know I'm like very late to this party, but it sounds just like Davy Jones. They had to do this on purpose, right? Like it
But
has.
also Necromancer, like grave and bones.
Oh, I like it. I like that too. See, LSS gets it.
They doubled down.
All right, so this is a pirate necromancer with an instant that says tap, destroy a gold you control, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, so it's literally just tap, destroy a gold, and it's loot. You just draw a card, then discard a card. If a blue has been put into your graveyard this turn, you may play cards with Watery Grave from your graveyard. So Watery Grave is going to be like a text, like a keyword, or something that like sets this up, I assume.
A couple cards away, we're gonna see a watery grave card.
Yeah, and I assume that like also like when we look at this, like this is going to have a lot of like, I feel like this is going to have a lot of like Chain feeling to it. How like Chain was able to play cards from like their Banish Zone. That's kind of the idea that I get for what we're looking at here. I don't know.
I'm getting a weird combo of vibes with that ability. I'm getting thematically like Dromai, because you're like setting up a board state, but I'm also getting like a weird Teklovasan vibe, because the one Watery Grave card we do see doesn't have go again when it's played. But that's like the one thing I'm seeing at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. I mean, honestly, like this is the time where like speculation, you just throw as much speculation as you can at the wall and none of it sticks. And then we get what we get when the set comes out.
Yes. And then you just look like a dummy for saying this one random thing.
I mean, dude, how do you think I feel? I get on here every week and I like have a hot take, and then it's like, no, you could not have been more wrong. Like, all right. Compass of Sunken Depths. Man, I'm going to have a stroke trying to say that. Instant tap. Look at the top card of your deck. Okay, so it's not even like a full Fate Seal. You just get to look at the top card. The first card with Watery Grave you play from your graveyard each turn gets go again. Okay, so this has...
That's just static.
So that's really cool, because you could give like the Chum Friendly First Mate like go again here when you play it from your graveyard. Okay, so like that static ability just kind of like exists there. That's kind of cool.
Kind of like just like a Luminaris, like first thing gets go again.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah.
I'm curious to know if they will give us a two-handed weapon and a one-handed weapon and force us into making that decision on what we want to play. That seems like something they would do.
What rarity is this?
It's a common.
It's so hard to tell. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Compass of Sunken Depths is a token. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm intrigued. All right, we have I guess this is our second Majestic, but our first Majestic was very stupid. Like, it was very broken. This is a 0-cost 3-block blue Pirate Necromancer action. First off, I love the border on these cards. Like, the whole, like, watery thing is really cool. Look at the top two cards of your deck. You may pitch a blue card from among them. Put the rest into your graveyard. Create a gold token for each yellow card put into your graveyard this way.
This card makes me a little more like concerned about what the design's going to look like, just from like this super like limited view of what cards are available, because the mix of the blues from Gravy Bones text and the yellow from this makes me wonder like what deck construction is really going to encourage.
I wonder if this is going to be like I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of graveyard synergy here, right? Like the whole Watery Grave like thing is like very like graveyard heavy, but I wonder if like you're just going to be like playing like Gravy Bones is going to be a very like blue and yellow dense deck. And like there's not going to be that many reds.
The blue thing I can absolutely see because the other cards that like we've gotten recently, like Call to the Grave
Mm-hmm.
and Rotten Remains, have been blues, and those are the cards that
Yep.
people have been like. Those are the cards people pointed to when they were like, "Oh, Necromancer's coming, Necromancer's coming," and
Yeah.
those both interacted with your graveyard, were blues or one attack and so on.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Chum Friendly First Mate is a 4 cost, 4 power, 6 health pirate necromancer ally with an action that says tap to attack. It has an instant of tap, discard a card with Watery Grave. Until end of turn, opponents must choose this as the target of attacks if able. So you're basically using this card as like, you can use this card almost as like a time walk, I guess, to like really try and slow them down to be able to like force them to come at this. And I feel like
it's a mix of Arclight and a dragon.
Yeah, like the fact that like it has like, I feel like this is probably what Arclight should have been.
Yes,
looking at it off the top of my head, and like this is really cool because at 6, you know, like you're either like you're forcing your guardian opponent to only attack that, or you're forcing your ninja opponent to throw 2 cards at that. It also has. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing with the 2 cards at it. Drew pointed this out earlier when we were like chatting in the spoiler channel. Mask Momentum Enjoyers are being fed by this because it's like, oh, I'll just send like a couple things at this, you know?
Oh,
and then,
because you get to keep Mask on the chain because technically you've hit.
Which was the 5 thing when Dromai was around.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'll guarantee my Mask hit by killing a dragon. So
I did that a lot. Ooh, interesting, man.
Yep.
But dude, we like literally have only seen like what 12 cards, and I'm already excited for this next set. I haven't even drafted the Hunted set at PT yet, and I'm already excited for this next set. Okay. Let's see. Board the Ship is a 2 for 6 that blocks 3. When this attacks, you may tap an ally you control. If you do, this gets overpower. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's a popper. It's like on rate with the 2 for 6 text, and you can give it overpower by tapping an ally. I mean, that seems good, not insane. Good. I don't know. Like
on rate,
yeah,
on rate and fair.
I like that card. It feels like it'll be a very good draft card, is what I'm thinking. All right, Paddle Faster. Yeah. I like the fact that they're rares. Paddle Faster is a 0 for 4 that blocks 3. When this attacks, you may tap an ally you control. If you do, it gets to go again. Oh, okay. So like we have one that's overpower and we have one that's go again. Again, very on rate cards, but they fulfill very different purposes. I feel like for what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
Hoist 'em Up is a 4 block pirate necromancer block. When this defends, you may tap an ally you control. If you do, it gets +1. Yo. So this is like floor 4 block, or it can block for 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm really interested on what the rules and the descriptions of the tapping is gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be another end step trigger, like an end step upkeep sort of deal, where you'll reset them. But I feel like it's probably would be similar to drawing, where it's your own end step, because the vibes I'm getting from just these couple of cards is gonna be developing a board state, which we kind of thought about, like was like, okay, thematically this makes sense for what a necromancer is.
Yeah.
But also the consideration of like, okay, how am I going to use my allies this turn? Can I utilize them for something better than just simply attacking for the turn? Or can I enable these other cards? And then like Hoist them Up is a good card to make you think like, okay, I can also use them on defense in a different way than Dromai did, where Dromai was just like, okay, these are kind of like sort of extra health. This is like, oh, it's blocking more, but I'm not getting to be aggressive with it on my turn.
So that's really interesting, and I really like where your head's at. So, like, you know, in Magic, like, we have the upkeep, where, like, you know, there's, like, untap, upkeep, draw, where all this stuff happens at the beginning of my turn. But all the stuff happens at the end of my turn in Flesh and Blood, like the draw up and, like, the end phase and, like, all that kind of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense that you'll probably have to decide if you want to be using your allies offensively or defensively, depending on what you're going to draw. So that's actually you make a really good point. That's a really cool concept that I hadn't considered, because I don't think they're going to add like an upkeep or anything like that at the beginning of our turns. I think they'll probably do like what you're saying, where they're saying like, at the end of your turn, all this stuff happens, which is neat because it means you get to play offense with it on your turn, and then it like resets or untaps to be able to like play defense with it. And then you're forced into like making decisions. Do I want to play offense or defense? I kind of like that.
I was going to say another thing we kind of skipped over was the Watery Grave and like what it does. So the Watery Grave keyword on Chum, when this is put into your graveyard from the arena, turn it face down, which I feel like is probably the best way to balance these like higher rarity allies, where it's like you only get them once. Because you're pulling them from your graveyard with Gravy Bones' ability, like you immediately, once you play them and they die, you can't play them again, which I think is probably a really, really good design way to not let it just be recurred over and over and over again.
Now, that leads me into a follow-up question. Do you think there will be ways to like flip cards, maybe even at random, like flip upside down cards face up?
That's a good question that I didn't think about.
How cool would that be?
It could be a little broken. I would imagine it have to be at random. It could not be.
Yeah, so like imagine, like I imagine like somewhere in the release text, it probably, in the release notes, it probably says like, oh, like once this is turned upside down, like you can't, like, it stays that way. And so then you say like, oh, like turn one face down card in your graveyard right side up at random.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty fun. I don't know. But I do like what you're saying, though, that like the idea of like Watery Grave being like, hey, you've used this, it left from here. So like you can get value out of it by playing it from your hand. And then when it dies, it turns face down into your graveyard. Or if you mill it off the top of your deck, you also get value because then you can get it back anyway. Which is kind of neat.
Another thing I'm thinking about now is that I don't think you can block with these ally cards. Because, like, with Dromai, it was a summon. It was like an invoke where it was like, okay, it's a non-attack or an instant. I can't remember which it was. But that, like, flipped itself into this ally.
Oh,
Chum has a health bar. He doesn't have a block value.
Yeah, because the dragons had a health bar on the back.
Yes. So, and same with... Figments, where like Figments explicitly don't have a block value until they're awakened on the board. So I think you're really going to have to rely on Gravy Bones discard effect, and then maybe also working other effects into your deck that discard it. I'm sure there's going to be a couple. Like Call to the Grave is probably going to be really strong in the deck. Chart the High Seas is another one that's like more graveyard fill.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like, you're also kind of playing a Levia game where you're like, I want these specific cards in my graveyard, and I need this balance in my graveyard to even start my game.
You pointing out that like they don't have block values assigned to them is really neat. That I really like that. I hadn't even noticed that. But man, that makes it really interesting for deck building, because not only are you a deck who's trying to set up and add to the board, but now you're a deck that has cards that don't block as well. So
probably also why he's a 40 health hero and not like a less, and he has any less.
I mean, that's fair. That also makes a lot of sense. All right. Maryland? It doesn't look like Maryland. It just looks like Marlin, maybe? I don't know. Marlin
would be also on the nose.
Marlin the Treasure Hunter. Action tap. Okay, hang on. When it says tap, I think it means your hero, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Destroy a gold you control. Create a gold fin harpoon in your hand. This action does have go again, unlike Puffin's action.
Yes.
When you draw a card during your action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. So, clearly, and I feel like this has been talked about a lot, but we're talking about like Bolt and Shot, Rain Razors, and Death Dealer here. Like, clearly already have a lot of value here.
Ooh. I can see her running New Horizons really well. With
Yeah,
that text
exactly.
and
So
Death
like,
Dealer. Oh my gosh.
you're probably like playing a little bit of your like create your own like Voltaire here, which is kind of fun to think about. But I do
Voltaire at home.
Yeah, we have better Voltaire at home, maybe like like we have Voltaire at home on a hero. I don't know, like better. I'm gonna go back on my better Voltaire because that's a bold statement, especially this
Voltaire
early in
was
the stream.
one card. This would take the hero and the weapon.
That's true. That's true. You have IKEA Voltaire is very accurate.
IKEA Voltaire. Build it yourself.
All right. So next we have King Shark Harpoon. Carly said this looks like Jeff from Marvel Rivals. I don't know what she sees when she's playing Marvel Rivals, but I have never seen Jeff look this way when we were playing Rivals at night.
I have. You ever been eaten by with your whole team and thrown off the side?
Yeah, but that's okay. All right, you all have been like warped.
He gets all big. His ultimate, he gets all big.
So King Shark Harpoon is a 2-for-6 with block 3. It is a Pirate Ranger action arrow, and its phrase is "Go Fish." This might be the first Ranger you all ever see me play ever, because I am so excited to say "Go Fish" to someone in the middle of a game. If nothing else in Limited.
Keyword, which means there's going to be multiple arrows with a similar effect to it.
Exactly.
Super
and I love
exciting.
that. All right. Go Fish. When this hits a hero, they choose and reveal a card from their hand. If it's an attack action card, they discard it and you create a gold token. If you've activated a cannon this turn, instead look at their hand and you choose the card.
It's going to be so cool.
Okay. Dude. Like, cannons, Go Fish, and King Shark Harpoon all in one card.
It's so sick. It's so sick.
I'm so glad that I own New Horizons already, is all I have to say. Because, like,
Same.
This is crazy. I actually, like, just, Go Fish is stupid. That should not be a thing. That should not be.
It's just better, like, judge, jury. Not even judge, jury. No, Deadeye. Deadeye, is that the card? Where if they have a name counter, look at their hand and take a card?
Yeah, Deadeye Tracker? Or is it just Deadeye?
I think it's just Deadeye.
It's something like the yellow. It's the yellow non-attack action. Yeah. I like that card a lot.
Yep.
If you've activated a cannon, is such a cool tease. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That is
cool.
That is pretty awesome. That is pretty cool. All right.
Also, a lot of the art that was like on the site yesterday that did some of the leaks, there was like a lot of ship art with like a kraken sort of like attacking it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the art on the ranger cards and the pirate ranger cards specifically are going to be just like these monstrous creatures and like the just the ships firing on them and stuff. I think it's going to be really cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. The art's going to be awesome in this set. Something tells me I'm going to find my third deck that I'm going to foil out here. My first deck I ever foiled out was Victor, and that was very expensive because that was when I bought my CNCs, that was when I bought my E-Strikes. I just bought the rest of my Aurora stuff. It's completely foiled now. I'm a degenerate. And so now I'm like, man, am I really about to foil out a Pirate Ranger? Like, and honestly, I think I'm going to have to, just because Carly just wants to walk around and go, "Arg, matey," the whole time like this set's going to be out. So she's probably going to make me do it for thematic purposes.
He was doing it for a hero that has nothing to do with pirates, just because his name sounded like "R."
Yeah, that's Carly. That's Carly right there in a nutshell. All right, so the next one we have is a Majestic Pirate Ranger action. It's a yellow block 3 that costs 2. Your next arrow attack this turn gets +4. If it has Harpoon in its name, it gets, when this hits a hero, create a gold token. That's kind of cool. And then it says draw a card and discard a card. So it's going to cost you 2. It gets +4. And if it has Harpoon in the name, King Shark Harpoon does, you have the ability to make a gold token. All right. Trent, we're gonna live in La La Land here for a minute. I'm gonna need you to like imagine with me for a moment.
I'm there.
You have King Shark Harpoon in your arsenal. you have 2 blues, a big game trophy shot, and a pummel in your hand. And you get to pitch a blue to play big game trophy shot.
I'm gonna pummel an arrow, baby.
Yeah, and then you're gonna play King Shark Harpoon, and you're gonna pummel it. We're gonna hit him for 14. We're going to, I don't know. We don't know what the canon text is yet. So they're gonna discard a card. We're gonna make 2 golds, and we're gonna get to draw and discard a card. Brother.
Dude. Another thing I'm thinking with the way that King Shark Harpoon is worded, I think one of 2 things.
Okay.
Either 1, the cannon is going to be the weapon.
That would be
or
cool.
Or 2, you're going to have some weird board state thing that are cannons. Because it says activated, which isn't played.
Yeah, so it's like it's something you have to manually do. It's like the tapping effect or something like that.
I feel like it probably would be the weapon, but another thing, like, that's a really easy condition to meet with, I think, the harpoon, like even just with the King Shark Harpoon.
Oh,
is like,
sure. Oh. So it's probably like a board state piece, right? Because again, it's all speculation. Like, we don't know, obviously, but like when we think about Puffin, when we think about Gravy Bones, they're both trying to like add to the board, cogs or like Watery Grave, like trying to make all this stuff happen. And so like it would feel very like offset, like off kilter for Marlin if Marlin did not have like a way to like add something to the board. And so I think that the cannons are going to be like tokens of some variety that we'll be able to like add onto the board, probably, is what I'm guessing.
I have a contrary idea to that, where it's instead it's the weapon, because thematically, freaking harpoons coming out of a bow that's like a dinky bow that one guy is holding, and he just has this massive shot that's like made for ships, doesn't make sense.
I mean, that's fair.
So I feel like it may be, my guess based on these is, I feel like the arrows for this set, the harpoons, are generally going to be bigger attacks, kind of like battering bolt, sort of, where they're like bigger damage arrows. It's going to have maybe higher cost to activate the weapon, where I feel like it may be like 2 resources, which would put it on par with like, it would be like sort of a guardian sort of deal, right? With it's like you're having to save a couple more cards to throw this big attack.
Yeah.
And then shooting the harpoon, which would like, so to kind of like meet that requirement of, I've activated a cannon this turn, I've afforded the higher cost to activate my weapon this turn to load the harpoon, and then spend the extra resources it took to fire it. So it's a bigger ask to activate a cannon in the turn and get that extra disruption effect. Another thing, the reason the kind of like mindset to this was like thinking about like, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons guy. In Dungeons and Dragons, it's not easy to just load up a cannon and fire it all in like the manner of like 6 seconds is what it like is in like Dungeons and Dragons. It takes someone to load it. It takes someone else's turn to shoot it. Or if you're doing it yourself, you have some time to load it up and then shoot it later in the next turn.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at with it.
So the cannon being the weapon makes it way more thematic to be able to shoot these bigger arrows to make it work, as opposed to just like having like a bow. That's kind of cool though. I kind of like it. That's pretty sweet. I mean, I feel like a bow being a 2-cost activation would be very taxing on a deck, especially like if your attacks are costing 2. But I really like where your head's at from like just a thematic point of view of like, just like having things be like a certain like rate.
Hey, something else just dropped. I'm seeing in the spoiler in the Discord, Gravy Bones is gonna have an armory deck.
Yo, what? Okay, hang on, everybody. We're gonna take Trent off the screen for a minute here. Sorry, guys. I have to see what we're talking about.
Get the hell out of here,
bro. Sorry, Trent. Well, Trent's still on the screen. He's just not in the box. He's just not in the box anymore. All right, let's see. What is this? Rigor Mortis?
Oh, this is new too.
Pirate Necromancer action ally. 1 health. It's a 1 for 6, and its action is pay 1, tap it, and attack, and it has Watery Grave. dies to a Kodachi.
It's Vincerikai. It's the Vincerikai dragon, where it's just like that dumb damage, but it's dinky.
Yeah, no, that's kind of cool. Release Trent from the box. I'm sorry, guys. All right, what else do we got over here? Yo, there's actually just a Gravy Bones Armory deck. I wonder if this is this would have to be the July one, right?
I think so, yeah. I would imagine the one after the set release.
Yeah. So there's Max coming out in April, right? I think May.
Yeah.
It's something.
I think it's April.
Yeah, April or May, and then there is High Seas in June. With High Seas in June, and then we have probably this coming out after it.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
Someone posted the release schedule at some point. I'll have to look back and find it.
I think
it was like,
yeah,
stuff was pretty close together.
Gravy is May 30th.
What?
Yo, it's coming out before the set. I love that we're just getting like live chat feed like in the Discord right now, like on the stream.
Wild. Anyways, yeah,
wow,
that's exciting.
That is actually
we
wild.
Finished looking at all these cards,
dude. That's what I'm saying. We haven't even got to the bottom of the cards yet, and like we're already getting new stuff. I wonder if I refresh the page. No. Okay, there's nothing else. Okay, I'm sure it'll be there later. Okay, so we've talked about the King Shark Harpoon, and we've talked about the big game trophy shot. Let's talk about the Goldfin Harpoon. So this has like the ephemerate text, basically.
Ethereal, I think.
This card is yellow, or yeah.
It's a tiger. It's a tiger text.
It's the crouching tiger text, whatever it is.
Big Zen guy here, I know.
Check the treasure pack collection. It's insane. Okay, well, we're looking at something else after this, it sounds like. All right, so this is a 0 for 2 that does not block. It's treated as a yellow card, but it cannot be pitched. And if it would be put into a graveyard, instead remove it from the game. And I like that it has the Harpoon name on it, because clearly like there's synergy with the big game trophy shot. I'm sure there will be synergy with other cards in the set. So I mean, this seems like a pretty cool like way to like manifest, because I think that's what Marlin does, right? Create a Goldfin Harpoon in your hand. Yeah. So it's basically So I guess you're like kind of preventing bricks, I guess is kind of the idea. So like if you ever draw like 4 pumps, you're just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just make a harpoon and then throw the harpoon.
You have to have a gold for this as well, is the other part.
So I guess like it's situationally like preventing bricks is the idea behind it. All right. The gold token is kind of sweet. It's not new, but I do like the art on it. I think it's really cool. I'll probably have one made just because, I'm a tool like that. Treasure Island. I like that we're getting a landmark and it's a macro. The first time a hero is attacked each turn, put a gold counter on this. Whenever you or an ally you control deals damage to an opposing hero, you remove that many gold counters from this, then create gold tokens equal to the number of counters removed this way. So this is probably going to be like the macro from Rosetta, I'm assuming. Like that's
Otherwise
probably
that'd be stupid strong.
Well, yeah, like it's probably going to be like where it's in play automatically and limited, right? Is what I'm thinking. And so like it's a good way to like generate gold efficiently in limited is what it sounds like to me. So I mean, I think it fits pretty well.
It's going to be strong though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that'll be very, very powerful. There'll be a lot of back and forth for us deciding how we want to play through that. Sorry, everybody. Trent's going to disappear one more time here. Let's see. Where is the link that we're talking about here?
Oh, yeah.
Is this what we're talking about? Is this the art for what we're looking for? So this is the art for the stuff, but I don't...
No, get out of that one. The one above it. The one above it is the whole... Is the basically High Seas release. Like, it's the notes and the info about it.
key dates. Let's see. Pre-release is May 30th. So we're gonna get the Armory deck Gravy Bones on the 30th.
Yes.
On the pre-release weekend, which is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I really need this Puff and Hightail. Like, I need the marvel of that. Treasure packs. Yo, what is this? Hang on. Sorry, everybody. Let's put Trent back on the screen here. I've clicked off too many times.
Treasure pack, I think, is going to be the gold pack. It's the gold pack like from Misvale.
Treasure packs hold a boundless trove of draw-dropping collector pieces and legendary girls waiting to be claimed by those bold enough to seek them. Treasure packs appear one per booster display of High Seas and will also be given to each participant at the world premiere. Interesting. Where's the world premiere?
Taipei, I believe.
Well, we're not going to that. That's too far. Plus, I'm trying to go to Vegas.
That's too far.
I mean, listen, like, I'm going to London next month, and I'm trying to go to Vegas in June. There's a lot of travel here, okay? Like, all in the middle of the year, it feels like.
You can only go to so many continents.
I mean, yeah, honestly, like, honestly, I really wanted to go to Sao Paulo this weekend.
I have a local who is. It's really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, unfortunately, I could not make that happen.
Me neither.
Yeah, so the end of May, there's going to be the world premiere, High C sealed deck. There'll be a calling, High C sealed, and then booster draft, and then the battle harden will also be sealed. Makes sense. Dude, this is awesome. The snatch where they're playing Mahjong is amazing. Cool. I love that. I've always wanted to learn how to play Mahjong. Like, actually. Yep. It seems like a really cool game. Anyway, is there anything new in here that we've missed? Yo, what is this gravekeeping? Pause a Reno, big dog.
Yeah. People were joking about it because they think that this is why Brian Gottlieb made that tweet, because he was like, he saw the full picture and knew that this was happening.
That I saw Drew say that earlier, like where he said like he made this card just to validate his tweet or whatever. Yeah, that honestly. That's amazing. Well, I'm going to have that, if nothing else, for Living Legend. That's kind of a spoiler for tomorrow's video. We're doing a Blitz Tech, not a Blitz Tech, a Living Legend deck for Aurora tomorrow.
You've heard it here, folks.
Yeah, you heard it here first. That's right. All right. These are the new cards. Expansion slot. 14 powerful cards covering a range of heroes and classes outside of those featured in High Seas.
It's interesting that they're telling us how many there are now.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I feel like if I watch the High Seas thing, I'm just gonna like lose all ad revenue the second I pull up this trailer and watch it. Because I kind of want to watch it.
Be on the safe side right now. Just let everyone else watch it, and then.
Oh, it's telling us the booster configuration. Is this telling us how many?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it doesn't tell us the pack layout.
16 cards per pack. The last two are either token expansion, token legendary, or token marble. That's all I can see from this.
Yeah. Treasure pack configuration: 90 card set, 11 marvels, 4 legendary, 52 pirate booty. I love the fact that it's labeled pirate booty.
That was my nickname in high school. Anyways.
Oh my god, bro. I missed the thing at the top. Let's see. I missed you missed the thing at the top where they say the pirate is a unique class and all of these heroes are dual class.
Yeah, there was a screenshot too that someone posted in the I think it's actually at the bottom.
3 new dual class heroes will navigate Wraith's treacherous open waters, each wielding a unique swashbuckling strategy that taps into previously uncharted waters of Flesh and Blood game design. So it's not the talent, they're dual class.
Yes.
They're pirate and mechanologist. Or they're pirate. Yo.
For straight pirate.
That's kind of cool. This is going to be dope. This new set's going to be awesome. I'm not going to lie. I did not think we would spend the first 50 minutes talking about spoilers. Like, honestly, when I thought there was like 12 of them, I was like, no, this will go pretty fast. All right.
It's just so much to unpack. It's exciting.
Oh, for sure. Excited. Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot there to talk about. Let's see. Can I share my screen without messing up everything for what we're looking at?
I can pull up stream. Just I can pull up stream and it's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Nope, it screwed it up.
Of course, I haven't even got it up yet, and it's already messed it up. Sounds about right. You guys can't tell my technology kicks my butt most days, so it would be cool to get like just straight pirates. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
All right. So we're going to take a look at Trent's Zen list, and we're going to break down his list. He's going to tell us all about it, and he's going to also tell us about his weekend. So I'll tell you what, let's start here before we take a look at your list. Go ahead and, walk me through Battle-Hardened Charlotte for you. Tell me about it. Let's talk about it.
So Battle-Hardened Charlotte kind of like set the stage a bit for it. It was like, more than anything else, I was excited to hang out with you and hang out with Drew, who's the other who hangs out in chat all the time. Drew McBroham is his username and whatnot. The other mod.
I was like, dude, everybody knows Drew. Come on now, everybody knows Drew. Yeah.
So the whole plan was, I'm just hanging out. I'm just hanging out with buddies who I haven't got to hang out with as much in person. Drew for the first time, which was really cool. And just have a good time. And that was the whole mindset I was coming into that weekend with, right?
Okay.
And I was kind of coming off of an RTN season that I'd put in a lot of work with Zen and not really gotten there. I did not qualify for nationals. Which I kind of chalk up a little bit to the Florida scene. The Florida scene, especially Central Florida, tough. Central Florida is really tough. There's a lot of like really high skill players that compete in this area. They're like
a lot of grinders in the area.
Yeah, Evan Herndon being a big name. Tariq Patel is another one that's around a lot. Guy Cohen is another one.
Okay.
There's a lot of really, really good players in the area.
Okay.
And I think that has raised the skill level a lot for the RTNs and ProQuests and so on. So I was coming off this season where it's like my best finish was a top 8. I lost to Guy Cohen, which lost me my invite, which I was like, I was happy to do that well. And that was probably my best. That was my best finish of the RTNs I went to. So it was like, oh, I'm just going to have fun. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. And then Friday, I hang out with Drew. We play in the Super Armory. I brought Reinar just to kind of have fun. I 0-3 dropped the Super Armory. He also 0-3 dropped with a Fang deck I let him borrow.
Yeah.
And then we just hung out after that. But so then coming into the Battle-Hardened, my mindset was, okay, I'm going to play a real hero. I'm going to play a hero that I've had a bunch of reps in over the past month that I feel like I've learned pretty well. Done a lot of practicing with a local of mine who's really, really good player. He's beaten a lot of the players in our area that are like crazy.
Okay.
He's very skilled player. And so working a lot with him on strategy and game plan and kind of like the approach to certain matchups, what some deck building changes might look like, what might give me some better edge in certain matchups and so on.
Sure.
And I owe a lot of my success with the deck to him, and I'm very thankful for the assistance he's given me. And so playing the deck for this long, I was like, okay, I'll play a deck that can actually compete into a lot of the meta decks that I have seen through all this RTN season. I should be able to kind of like at least get one win, right?
Sure,
like that was my goal, was to get one win that day.
Okay.
So I brought this version of the Zen deck. It's pretty close to what I would run now. The biggest thing I would say that I would like probably to shore up some other things, other matchups, I would say, is taking out like Mask of the Pouncing Lynx and Split. Those cards I specifically got because I was like, oh, if I see a wizard, I don't want to just like automatically get a game, like not necessarily get a game loss. It's still possible. It's just you have to high roll like crazy.
Okay.
Those cards really help you shore up that matchup. So I was like, okay, I'll bring this more well-rounded deck that is kind of more teched for certain heroes that I feel like I don't have as well of a matchup into,
Mm-hmm.
and I can kind of game it like that. Um,
Okay.
so I sit down at the first round against the Kano, and so I was like, oh, cool, good thing I brought these cards in. Um, and what ended up happening, I think, was probably turn 2. I had probably the most insane Magic Christmas Land hand that I could have ever imagined, where I like was like levels of enlightenment, transcend, draw. I drew into ancestral harmony, and I had like uh uh chase the tail and aspect of body line I had ready to go, and so I play the ancestral harmony because I was like, oh, I'll at least get 2 value out of this. I hit a tiger swipe off the top, and so this turn turns into just this monster turn where I'm able to do more than 30 damage, and he just wasn't blocking. And so he was like, okay, I guess I go now, and he had like the setup to do something. He just didn't
Sure.
have like potions or anything like that down to really seal it up. But like starting with that game kind of set the tone for me for the day, where I was like,
Okay.
oh, I got my 1 win. I can just kind of play and hang out and have fun and like try to do my best that I can.
Well, you shook the rust off
And
early, man. Like you were able to, like,
yes,
getting a round 1 win does a lot for your mental at these tournaments. So I'm a firm believer that that is a big step in the right direction.
most definitely. And I think the other part that helped me out a lot was like, I didn't really have a rapport with a lot of the people at the RTNs I was going to. I'm kind of like, I don't go up that way a lot. And so it was like, oh, I'm like in between rounds, I'm just shooting, I'm just talking with you, talking with Taylor Crawford, talking with all these other people, talking with Drew,
Right.
kind of like really just letting myself loose and having a lot of fun with it.
Well, it's a
Which,
different atmosphere. You're getting to hang out with people you know and be yourself, as opposed to going to these tournaments where you don't know any people. And in between those rounds, you're like playing on your phone or doing this, or like you're talking to the one person that you know. And if they're playing, you can't really do that.
yep.
So, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, man. I completely get what you're saying.
And I think the combo of winning that first round and having that comfort to kind of like talk and chat with people really like helped me work through the rest of the day. So the round 1 was into Kano. I ended up winning that. My round 2 was Amir. Super nice guy. His name is Kevin. I think he's been in your chat maybe once or twice, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He's super cool guy. We talked about some Zen tech by the end of it. It was a really close game, and we were trading back and forth, and he popped his traverse before I did to try to like have a turn to really like try to push a ton of tempo.
Okay.
And I think I weathered it super well with like the hand I drew up and was able to just consistently throw more damage back, and he kind of it kind of folded at a certain point.
Okay. Yeah.
Then round 3 was into Kevin Murphy,
Okay.
which was a wild thing where it was like I'd gotten psyched out in previous RTNs with like Geek Cohen. Like I think part of that game too is I psyched myself out where it's like, this is Geek Cohen. Oh no. Same thing had happened at a PQ that I went to, and I played my last round of Swiss into Evan Herndon, which looking after this tournament, it's like, oh, they're just people. I'm like, I don't need to psych myself out about these things.
It's very easy to do, to let someone's name get into your head. It's a very easy thing to do. I agree.
It also helped. I didn't remember where I recognized the name from at first. And I was like, I've seen you before. He's like, yeah, probably. And I was like, wait a minute. You just won a battle hard. You were on stream with Taylor. Oh, no.
That's
And he was like,
amazing.
yeah.
I love
yeah.
that.
And so that one was a weird game for sure. Like it started off, he went first, played Hero Olivia Edition, first thing. And so I was like, oh crap, this is dumb. Like I'm just screwed. Like this is gonna hit. He's gonna go crazy. This sucks. And so I was sitting there like whatever, like really like a little already bummed about it. So I block and I give up Kasaya. Turn 0, I give up my chess piece.
Dang.
Which is losing me so much value over the course of this game. And he had Wrath. So he hits me turn 0 with Erudition, gets his stuff on early. And so I'm immediately like, okay, this game's over. This sucks, whatever. And so we were playing this game where I kind of mentally already been like, okay, I'm not gonna win this game. Let's just run it out, see how crazy my turns can be, and then just move on. So what ended up happening was he ended up like having these turns where it was still doing the prism thing, but my turns kind of went crazy. I had a turn, for example, where I was coming off of getting hit by Herald of Judgment, the one where you can't play from your banner zone. So I was like, okay, I can't use it in this turn, whatever. But the hand I threw back was like, here's Levels of Enlightenment. I'm using my Sacred Art as well this turn, so I'm able to dump 3 blue cards into my pitch zone with like using Zen's ability and just doing the Tiger stuff. And that Levels drew me into a second level, so I just threw a second Levels. And so on, and threw all these Tigers for 1. And then the second Levels drew me into an Ancestral Harmony. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me pocket this for another turn to Transcend or whatever.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then that was the first turn where I was like, oh, I have a bit of tempo here. This is kind of cool.
You're like, yeah, I can do
this. And so
going
into the next couple turns, it was like, I think the next turn, I was able to do a Chase the Tail line, and I hit a Tiger Swipe off of the top with an Ancestral Harmony.
Okay.
Like, and I was able to play the rest of that turnout in a way that was like, oh, I can kind of play around the Figment of Judgment where you can flip a card where it's like, okay, I have a way to play it where he can't hit Chase the Tail and all this other stuff. So it worked out pretty well where he like popped he did the Halo thing where he got Judgment. He flipped over the swipe. I was able to get Chase the Tail comfortably and still do something stupid. And eventually got to a point where he was having to just give up hands and so on, and I was eventually able to get there.
Okay.
And that was probably another big part of the swing on my day to go up. Round 4, I played into a Vincent, really, really nice guy. Before we started the game, the judges came over for a deck check, and we just sat and talked for about 10 minutes. And I think that really like kind of threw me off. This was my one loss in Swiss for the day, was against him.
Okay.
And I sideboarded completely wrong. I didn't bring an AB, which was just dumb. And like going from there, I got some pointers from other people that I was talking to, and just like, oh yeah, you need AB because then you can kind of slow down their turns. Like, and if you like stop damage enough, they eventually can brick and so on.
Especially with the slew of blues you play in your deck.
Yes, yeah, it's just really, really easy. I was like, oh no, the one Zen State token I can make is fine. Because then they just keep their engine going with Deathly Whales and so on, just dealing damage and whatnot.
Right.
Round 5, I will say, we didn't play each other this weekend, but I did do something you couldn't, where I beat Naib. I beat Naib round 5.
Damn.
I've been sitting on that too.
Damn, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I love it.
My round 5 was into Naib, who was on Vin, and using the stuff I'd gotten from the game before, I was able to like kind of just like block him down where he couldn't deal damage to me and keep his engine going and so on. So I was able to get that game pretty well.
Nice.
My round 6 was into an Azalea. I'm gonna butcher his name and I feel so bad. I think it's Rashab. He's in I know he hangs out in your chat and he's in the Discord and stuff.
Okay.
He's pinged me a couple times. He's super really nice guy. Friends with Chris, who's also in the Discord. And so like Chris came up. So I played this game and he was on Azalea. I was able to just put a ton of pressure on. He wasn't able to really like do a whole lot from an aggressive standpoint. Like I pushed him. I think I ended the game maybe 20-ish.
Okay.
And no fault of his. Like he played it as good as he could. I just kept drawing the nuts and like CNC at the end of a chain where I would like went 3 or 4 wide with actual real damage and so on like that. And I was able to do a crazy turn where I was able to go I think 4 combo cards wide, where it was like I had a Breed Anger and Arsenal, I had Chase, Aspect, and Mauling Key in my hand, and a blue. So I was able to just like break my boots to get a Tiger and just enable this massive combo turn that just like he couldn't really do anything about, and that like really catapulted me ahead in that one.
Okay. Yeah.
And then that game we talked a little bit after. Chris came up and like we were talking. I was like, yeah, I'm a big runner player before, and he's like, wait, are you Trent? I was like, yes. And then we introduced each other. It was super cool.
That's awesome.
Really cool to do that and meet him in person. Round 7, I played into a Syndra, she was really nice. I again like the biggest thing with Zen is like if you roll hot, it's really hard to keep up. I think is the biggest takeaway I got from this event. Because against Syndra, where it was like, oh, wax on, wax off, chess piece. I think I made 3 Zen State tokens that game.
You made 3 Zen State tokens?
With only 3 wax ons in the deck.
Bro.
Where I was like, Yeah. It was rough. It was really rough. But it's the whole game plan into that deck. So you really lean into it.
I mean, the fact that you made 3, there's not an aggro deck in the format, in my opinion, that beats you when you make 3 Zen State tokens against them. At least the way that the current metagame lines up. Like, I just think you're super favored if that's the play. That's crazy.
For sure. And then my last round of the day was into another Zen. Her name was Raven, super nice. She ended up also making top 8. But it was like that game I think was really deciding placement. I don't know if I would have made top 8 if I lost that game, to be honest. But because I don't really remember where she placed in the top 8. But
I don't know. It's a good question. It's like, I don't know.
It was another really good game though.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think transcended or had a chi probably every turn of that game but one.
Oh, okay. So you were just doing the things every turn.
I was doing the things and it was gross. But it also was like I think I was able to fight through 3 Zen State tokens of my own. She made 2 or 3 Zen State tokens, and I was able to just put on enough pressure to fight through it until it was gone, and then I just kept going.
What?
Yeah. It was disgusting.
It
was really gross.
How bad on tilt I would be if I made 3 Zen State tokens and lost the mirror?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's wild.
My foot was on the gas so hard. It like she couldn't really do anything with her own turns from what I'm remembering.
Sometimes it just be like that, I guess.
Yes. That's the biggest thing I've learned with this deck is sometimes it just is that way. So
I mean, that's fair.
And then so that put me at a 7-1 record. I ended up placing 4th after the Swiss rounds, and so and then that put me in my top 8 game. I did end up losing that game. You were there for that, where it was into a Prism. He was a nice guy. He was newer to the game. He read every card. He kept asking to read my cards, which is I was happy to let him do, and I was happy to explain anything if he had any questions. He just took a long time to think about things, which is no fault of his. Like he said, he's been playing the game maybe a month or 2. But he did very well apparently to get to. I think he ended up getting into the finals versus Michael Fung.
They played in the semis. Michael Fung beat him in the semis.
Gotcha.
I think. Yeah, I think it was.
Oh no, I think you're right.
It was Ira versus Enigma at the end. But
yes.
I played Paul in Swiss. We played in like round 6 or 5 or something like that, and he was super nice. And it is very, very impressive that you could be playing a game as hard as Flesh and Blood and as skill intensive as this game into like top 8, a battle harden is really cool. But your all's top 8 game took forever. I remember
it was well over an hour.
It was easily an hour, 15 hour and 20-minute game. Because I remember I was playing in the 6 o'clock side of it at this point because I'm waiting on you to finish so that we can go to dinner. And I remember I finished one of my games, came over, watched your game for a while, came back, played an entire another round. Now, granted, I was playing Aurora, so I was playing an aggro deck. And when I came back, you were still playing. And I'm like, what the hell's going on right now?
It was a long one.
It was intense. It was intense. So yeah. Well, I mean, dude, listen, even like losing in top 8, man, I know it's tough. That feeling's tough to like lose a close one like that. But dude, like the fact that you made top 8's awesome, man. I was
gonna say,
I'm super proud of you,
top
dude.
8 to me was no big deal losing in top 8 because I went in there with no expectations. Just getting there and doing as well as I did and getting top 8 with my expectation. When my expectation was win one game, I was super proud of that. And especially coming off of the RTN season I had, I was like, it really put into perspective of like how far I've come with the deck and the skill level I am as a player, which was really like it really helped with my confidence for the game, which was really cool. And I really, really enjoyed the experience.
It's a massive confidence boost for sure. Like it's for sure a massive confidence boost. And, it's a major accomplishment, like it's super awesome to be able to say something like that. So let's see here. Let's take a look at the deck here. Let's talk about this. I'm going to hang on. I know it's going to mess this up for a second, but I'm just going to share my screen with you and we're just going to have to figure it out. No, I want your camera to come back. I don't want it to be okay.
Oh, no. Don't share. You don't need to share the screen.
Can you share my? Can you see my? You should be able to see my screen in Discord. and Discord can still
Okay.
see you, or like
Yes.
and chat can still see you. Okay, perfect.
Sure. Yeah, that's
All right. So taking a look at the deck, a lot of this stuff, to me looks very, business as usual.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like all this stuff looks very business as usual. The wax off and wax on combo is something that's become very, very popular, in the recent months of the whole Zen iteration. Because like the floor of this deck is that it lets you, like, of this card, lets you transcend, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
But it also has like insane combo potential. So, of your games outside of the Cinder game, how much of an all-star would you say wax on, let's just talk about wax off for a second. How good would you say wax off was? Like, was it okay? Was it like an all-star all weekend? How did you feel about it?
In a vacuum, it's not like a lot of Zen players. Like, I was talking with Cusco about it specifically. Like, because he plays Zen. It's not one that everyone has main board. I have it main board mostly to fill this blue base that I need.
Okay.
Where it's like the deck is probably 31 cards that are blue, I believe.
31 blues, 18 reds in your main deck. Yep.
Yeah. So it meets that 31. It meets the at least half, if not more, on the blue count. So it more than anything else, it's filling that role.
Okay.
Outside of wax on, it's not something I try to play as much. A lot of the times, though, toward like an endgame state, it's usually still in my deck if I'm not playing wax ons.
Okay.
So it can kind of help when it gets down to be like, I only have chi left. This at least blocks. And that was something that like really showed true in the Prism game and that top 8 game. Like, by the time our game finished, because it ended up going to fatigue where I was out of combo cards, I was like just throwing like Kakara, Tiger, a 1 attack that's still in my deck for some reason.
Yep.
This was a welcome sight because it blocked.
No, that
wasn't a cheat.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because, I remember that game, and I remember you were mostly chi at the end of that game. So yes. I'm sure, because I remember one turn I think you arsenaled this and actually set up to like block something, and it was really, really good for you to be able to have this late in the game. So that makes a lot of sense. So I've noticed that you have a split. You have 2 Harmony of the Hunt and 2 Pouncing Key. I know that they serve different roles. What was the rationale between the 2 and 2 as opposed to like a 3 and a 1 there?
So something I'm so mid-range coded in my brain that it's been drilled into my head that I don't like 2 blocks.
I understand.
And transitioning to this deck was a difficult learning curve to start.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I have all these 2 blocks. Like, it's not really worth blocking a lot of the time. Harmony's in there because it can really enable like chase the tail turns. I was at one point running reds. But I think I eventually moved off of them just for the sake of my like mid-range game consistency.
Yeah.
And the blue is just still really good, and like it can really allow for a turn where I just like play it, can transcend on it, then just get a chase the tail, and not have to worry about having too many other cards to go with it.
Sure.
Which is really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it transcends and like it's also like guaranteed a tiger, basically, like as long as you pitch a blue, I think is very powerful. So I definitely makes sense. I was curious to know if there was a big reason for this, or like the fact that like it is a 0 for 2, when played with a tiger, and also the fact that it blocks 3 at blue, I figure was a big part of that.
That's the biggest thing for this card. It's filling the blue base. It's got a 3 block. It in an endgame state where it's like one of the last combo cards I have. It's not terrible. It also triggers Shuko, so it can be bumped to a 3. It's filling a role decently well.
Okay.
That it just was, again, more for that like kind of mid-rangey consistency part of it. I felt like having more 3-block blues was helping me in the way I played the deck a little bit better. Yeah, that's kind of where that one stands.
No, it makes sense. So like you got to have role players, Not everybody's Michael Jordan, man. That's just that's how it goes. Okay, so Blanche was a card that was really popular for a while in the sideboard of this deck, and I noticed that it did really well for you against Prism.
Yes.
Is this in there as a popper, or is it just a popper, or does it have other utility?
So it's a popper. that against Prism matters, like more than anything else, where it's like, okay, it's a 7, so I can pop a Triumph if needed, and also if I'm stuck with it, I can throw it, because then they don't get Luminaris value if they don't have yellow cards anymore.
Okay.
And that was really the biggest decision point on this one. It would have been like Blanche or Weakest Link or other stuff like that, where I felt like I was more worried about the Prism matchup when I was prepping for this event.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was the best card I could have landed on as a help in those matchups.
So it serves like a dual purpose, I would say, because it's a non-triumphable, I guess. I don't know, popper.
Sure.
And it also has the ability of like kind of turning off what they want to do. If you're winning the game, you can just attack with it and just keep on rolling. So I kind of like that. That makes sense. How did you feel about Red Key Unleashed? Because this is a card that I said forever and a day ago was going to be popular in Zen post Bonds ban. And, you know, I've seen it more as like a very, very small role player kind of card, but it's never been like insane. So why one of, and how did you feel about it?
I really like this card as the one of for matchups where they want to block a lot more, because it's presenting this big chain ender that a lot of the times CNC could also fit, but you can't fetch CNC. The issue with Key Unleashed, and also another thing that people do with Key Unleashed as well, is they'll run a blue to kind of shore up the Enigma matchup. I mean, not Enigma, I'm sorry, the new matchup as well, because blue Key Unleashed also triggers Shuko, and it's another blue that they can't really get a ton of value out of, and other stuff like that. So red Key Unleashed, I feel like, is really good into like the Victors, the Jarls, the Enigmas, the news as well, where it's like, here's this massive attack at the end. The issue with it is when you draw it, it doesn't feel good. Like especially without a chi and without a tiger generation, it feels lackluster, which is why it's just the one. And I only really ever need one.
Okay. So it just kind of fulfills the small role that you need it to when you need like a big chain ender if you have extra resources laying around. Wax On makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't really feel like we need to like talk much about Wax On. Why Sink Below over Shelter from the Storm?
Because I can't afford it. That's the only reason that's in there. Otherwise, I would have Shelters in this spot. 110%, I would have Shelters.
I've looked at a lot of deck lists that still have Sink Belows in them, and sometimes I look at them and I'm like, you know what? You probably want Sink Belows. Like, you want sinks to be able to filter cards. But I appreciate the honesty of that answer. I noticed that you're playing Mask of the Pouncing Lynx and a one of Salt the Wound. I love that. I think that's probably really powerful into, I'm guessing, like new like decks that want to block a lot, like the Guardians maybe. Like, I don't know when you want that, but that's what my thought process is telling me.
It is only in there for Kano, Verdansk, Cilio. It's only in there for the Wizards. That's
so it's
the
for
only
the
reason
Wizards.
this combo's
Okay.
in there. Because every other deck, Traverse is just such a powerful card that can just really throw tempo either your way or keep it your way whenever they need it. Kano doesn't care about Traverse.
Okay.
Acilio kind of does, Verdansk kind of does, but then it's more of a guessing game on when you can get full value out of it. With Pouncing Lynx and Salt, it is my time. I get to choose when this goes off. I get to choose when this kind of goes nuts outside of like blocking, but they can't block out forever.
Sure.
So like I talked about with that Kano game in my first round, I was able to do a turn with Ancestral Harmony and going a couple combos wide and finish it with Salt the Wound for like 7 or 8.
That's awesome.
So it was real powerful. These two cards are probably the two that I would say going forward I would take out, because they're not as prevalent in the meta at the moment, where I feel like both of those cards I would much rather have yellow Wax-Ons for like the Aurora matchup.
Okay. That makes sense. I get that. I've seen a lot of people playing the yellow and red Wax-Ons into me when I'm playing online. So I completely get that. All right, well, cool. Let's play some games. I am excited to have you here to be able to play games because, you know, everybody who like has watched me play Zen in the past knows that, you know, Zen's not really my thing. I'm not very good at Zen. Also, can you still see my screen over here?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
yes.
I want to make sure that you can see what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, you've seen me play Zen in the past. A lot of people have. And like, you know, I don't play Zen very well. I don't win a lot of games when I play that. So I'm really hopefully you're going to shore that up for me tonight.
The biggest thing I can say with Zen is you need to be more willing, like the way that he's built now is way more willing to play this mid-range game. And you can play it really effectively with cards like Mauling Key, where you just have like a blue and block a couple cards, maybe arsenal something that like a transcend card for later.
Okay.
And go Kakara into Mauling Key. It's a 2-card 7. Having those 2-card 7s like within reach for the deck really allows you to have these turns where you're more okay to play into disruption. You're more okay to play into this like trading game for a little bit. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Okay.
I think we're favored in this matchup, right?
You would think. You kind of need to be very careful with it. It was the biggest thing I would say. So we want Cosmics. We want Sinks. We want the Tiger Eye Reflexes, Key Unleashed, and I would also say E-Strikes. And maybe 1 or 2 Command and Conquers.
So if we play one that puts us at 60, do you want to play more than 60 here?
It doesn't really hurt, but I think 1's fine if you want to do 1. But...
Let's try 1 and we'll see what happens here. All right, and then I assume we're just running like not Mask and not Tide Flip. Okay, perfect.
Interesting.
I really don't want to let our opponent fuel their Earth game plan in their graveyard. So,
but
okay.
Counterpoint.
All right,
you want transcend cards.
So, do we over pitch for Kakara by pitching Tiger Swipe and Biting Breeze, and then throw Mauling Key and Arsenal to Tiger Swipe?
Part of me wants to try to save Biting Breeze. Biting Breeze is one of the best cards to transcend off of because it gets around the like go again +1/-1 that you need for some of them. So part of me wants to just throw Mauling Key here or pitch both Tiger Swipes into the Kakara.
Let's swing the Kakara.
I feel like that's the best bet.
And we can Arsenal the Mauling Key, I guess.
I would say Arsenal Biting Breeze. Because there's so many blues in this deck where I'm not worried about not drawing a blue.
All right. I was like, no blues incoming and we cry. Would be hilarious.
If that happens, yeah, we do cry.
Hey, Latara, what's up?
This hand isn't terrible.
No, I don't think this hand's bad at all. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish this was 3 cheese.
Is this a dominated Mangle? I think this is dominated Mangle.
It is. Now, it doesn't matter because they're not going to destroy anything. So... I'm trying to think. So what my gut tells me here is that we can block with Pouncing Key. Mm-hmm. We can go Biting Breeze for 1, pitch Cosmic Awakening for Kakara, throw the Tiger for 2 because of Shuko, throw the Mauling Key for 5, and then Arsenal Biting Breeze.
Yep, that's the exact play I would make.
Nice.
110%.
Dude, I'm making the same plays as a battle-hardened top 8 competitor, bro. We're moving up in the world.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. All right, so we'll just go ahead and lead on the Biting Breeze here. Maybe we, like, get a Blizzard out here or something like that. Yo, are they going to let this hit? They are. Yo, Pog. Yeah, pitching that Cosmic Awakening. You be aware, big fella. That's coming back. I don't like that my opponent's not blocking.
It's fine.
It scares me.
It's no big deal. Just don't give him equipment. Like that's the big thing. Just don't block with equipment. It'll be chill.
We did talk about a lot of the plot of the we did talk about a lot of the spoilers earlier this stream. So if you like want to see like our conversation about the spoilers, then you guys can go back and check it out at the very beginning of the stream. Let's see. King Babaris is playing Zen in an LL skirmish on Sunday. Any tips? Trent, hook him up.
I have not played this hero long enough to understand. Oh no, this sucks. To really understand the LL Zen. I don't really know what the play patterns look like for that version of the hero because I never played Zen when he had access to bonds in any way. Um, my best advice would probably see if there's LL stuff for. Oh God, dude, what the frick?
So we're gonna